The prophets of God. In the beginning, God spoke directly with people on earth. He talked with Adam in the Garden of Eden. He talked with Noah, telling him how to build the ark. He talked with Abraham, telling him to go to a land he would show him. He was to be the father of a nation of God's people. And he spoke to Moses as he led God's people out of slavery in Egypt. Later, God sent prophets to speak to people. Sometimes prophets brought good news, hope for the people. Sometimes they brought troubling news, judgment for the people. For example, Samuel was the prophet who warned the people against having a king who would take from them as their ruler. Elijah and Elisha were prophets to Israel, the northern kingdom, and Ezekiel was a prophet to those exiled in Babylonia. God sent Jonah as prophet to the people of Assyria. He told Jonah to go to the capital city of Nineveh and preach against its wickedness. However, Jonah ran from God and boarded a ship for Tarshish. He did not want Nineveh to be forgiven. God sent a huge storm to pound the ship. Jonah told the sailors that he was the cause of the storm and to throw him into the sea to save themselves. They did as Jonah directed, and the sea became calm. The sailors feared and believed God. The Lord sent a huge fish to swallow Jonah, who was in the belly of the fish 3 days and 3 nights. He prayed, and God caused the fish to cast Jonah onto dry land. Jonah then obeyed God and preached to the people of Nineveh, and they believed. God did not bring destruction on them because they turned from their evil ways. When Babylonia conquered Judah, they ruled through kings Babylonia appointed. Jeremiah was a prophet to these kings. He is referred to as the weeping prophet because he was so full of sorrow as he warned them that God would punish them for their sin. Jerusalem would be destroyed, and they would be in Babylonian captivity for 70 years. Jeremiah was put into a hole in the ground. However, all that he spoke happened because the people would not turn from their sinful ways. The beautiful temple was destroyed, and the land was laid waste. The prophet Isaiah foretold that Galilee, which had been a distressed part of Israel, would be honored in the future. The joy of the people would be increased because of the birth of a very special child. He would be called Wonderful, Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. He would reign on the throne of King David forever with justice and righteousness. All these events would be brought about by the Almighty God. We have seen how God created mankind in the beginning, how Adam and Eve disregarded God's instruction and were punished for doing so. We have seen that this was the beginning of man's continual disobedience to God and God's decision to flood the earth and destroy mankind. But Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord, Genesis 6:8, and his family was spared in the ark designed by God and built by Noah. God's grace for mankind was demonstrated. A descendant of Shem, one of Noah's sons, was Abraham, known as the father of the faithful. The promise of Isaiah was accomplished through this family line. Abraham, his son Isaac, his son Jacob, his son Judah, and through King David, Jesus was born. Jesus, the Christ, lived and taught in Galilee of God's love for people. Jesus was the one who was to be called Prince of Peace, God's greatest demonstration of His grace.